All right, welcome back, everybody. Jesse Cass back with you here. I'm now joined by women's softball head coach Sami Strinz-Ward. Sami, thanks for joining me here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Sami, you're coming off a really successful season last year, which ended in a championship for your team. How have you been able to build on that over the summer and into this new season?
Well, I think one of the biggest things from our team last year is we had quite a few freshmen starting for us, and so that's paid off for us this year. I mean, they're sophomores right now, but they have that experience of the championship behind them. We're returning our pitcher of the year last year, Hannah Vandermeer, so that's helpful for us too. So kind of building off that, but still not satisfied with just that. We want to win a conference championship this year, and we want to go to the NCAA postseason.
Yeah, and you mentioned the freshmen that were so good last season. You already have a freshman who just won WCC Player of the Week. For those that aren't familiar with Riley, how quickly has she adjusted to the program to win that award so quickly for the team?
Riley's someone who I kind of describe as being old school. She's got a really strong work ethic. She's got a lot of power, a lot of strength. She's just trying to learn how to harness it effectively. She's someone, this is one of the biggest compliments I could give someone, that she's someone who could have played on one of the teams in my generation, and that's kind of old school is what I'm saying. But she's done a really good job of stepping up for us. She's hit home runs against UCLA, who's one of the top teams in the nation. Arkansas, she's come through clutch for us quite a few times.
And you mentioned playing some of those big teams early in the season, so far 9-7. How do you measure your team against those really top teams like UCLA that you mentioned? Where do you stack up at, or for what you've seen so far this season?
I think the disparity in college softball is really close right now. Obviously, the top 10 teams are a little stronger than the rest of us. They just have a little bit more depth. But I mean, we lost UCLA 3-1. We want to win. We think we can win. So that part's really exciting. But we're not getting blown out in those games. We're competing. We were literally one swing away. We had bases loaded in the 7th inning, and we just couldn't get it done.
And similarly to the beach volleyball team, we know that the weather can be a deterrent with how it's been for your team. How have you been able to navigate that and keeping your team sharp and practicing and playing when the weather doesn't cooperate?
That's just one of those things that we can't control, so that's a big area of emphasis in our program. We just try to worry about the things we can control. We control the controllables, so there's a lot of outside factors that we can't control: umpires, weather, being on the road, a lot of different things, but we just try to put our energy and our focus into the things that we can control.
And you mentioned you had a lot of really successful freshmen last season. Who are some of those returning players that are the key players for your team this year?
Andreea Gonzalez is doing a really nice job for us. She was our third baseman all last year. We're actually using her a little bit at shortstop this year. We had an injury early on with our projected shortstop, who should be returning this weekend. But Drea's been doing a really nice job offensively. Maddie Flores she was the WCC Defensive Player of the Year last year, and she's split some time with Drea at shortstop and also played second base. She's done a nice job. And Delaney Wiz is another one that stands out. She was our first baseman. She had like 12 home runs last year, so she's doing a nice job. And then we got a pitcher, Lene Wilson, who did a really nice job for us last year, averaging over 1 strikeout an inning, which is a pretty hard thing to do. And then Molly Grumbo's done a really nice job offensively as well for us.
And what are some of the things that you look for when you're recruiting players and just kind of your off-season training program to get the team ready and sharp for the upcoming year?
I think when we talk about recruiting, one of the things we focus on is we're trying to build a top 25 program here, and we're trying to do it kind of quickly. So it's really interesting because we're definitely a white-collar school, but we're trying to find blue-collar workers here. So that's not easy to do, but that's what our focus is, and that's what we kind of put right out in front and try to be real open and honest with. And then we really believe in growth, and so we believe that all of our student athletes that come in here are just starting the growth process. And so we like to help them to become the best that they can be, and so they're not satisfied. But we're constantly pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to better ourselves.
And you mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the interview, wanting to finish first and win the conference championship. You were close last season, finishing in second. What can allow you to get over that hump and get the WCC championship this year?
I think the biggest thing is experience. We were neck and neck with BYU last year, going to their place for basically the conference title. And in my terms, we choked. And that was lack of experience. But we needed to go through that. That's a huge growth obstacle for us and opportunity for us. So we needed to do that. We didn't enjoy it, but we got to learn those hard lessons sometimes. But with that experience, we're going to have another opportunity this year, and I think we'll respond better.
Yeah, and with such a young team, how much room for growth is there? You kind of alluded to kind of having to go through the lumps, but the growth that you can have not only this year, but the next couple of years going forward with those players.
I think there's always room for growth, no matter who it is, myself included. But even this year, we're still really young. We're starting anywhere from 8 to 9 freshmen and sophomore every single game. We've got a senior catcher and a senior pitcher, but everyone else is a freshman and sophomore right now. So we're only going to get better and better and better, but it's just about the process and buying in on a daily basis. It's not just going to happen.
And finally, looking forward in your schedule, what are some of the upcoming games and just the games that you're looking forward to later in the season?
First off, March is a fun month for us because we spend like 99% of it at home. So yes, it's always nice to play in front of our home crowd, but I think this weekend we've got Oregon State coming in. They are top 25 depending on the poll you're looking at. The weekend after, we have Illinois coming in and Oklahoma coming in. Illinois is getting top 25 votes. Oklahoma is always in the top 5 in the country, so we've got a lot of strong competition coming to LMU, which we're excited about. And then after this month, we get into conference, and then it's go time again, still.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that go time. Good luck in the rest of the season, and thanks for joining us here.
Thank you so much.
That's head coach Sami Strinz-Ward. We'll be back with Charity Elliott in just a few minutes.